So there's so much to discuss. Let's start with perhaps the biggest news of the day in the airline world, and that might be the Justice Department appears ready to challenge your partnership between American Airlines and JetBlue in the Northeast Alliance. They seem to be ready to claim that this is anti-competitive and would drive fares higher. How do you respond to those concerns?
Well, they're wrong, and we'll prove it. If indeed, as we expect, they issue a lawsuit, we will vigorously defend it. And then the good news about this is it's entirely pro-competitive. We and JetBlue are putting our networks together to provide more choice to consumers, to increase competition, and particularly in the Northeast and in New York and Boston, where American doesn't have as big a presence as Delta and United, and JetBlue's is larger than us, but also can't compete as well against them. By putting our networks together, we give more choice to consumers. It's already working, by the way. We've been at this now for since January, and we've already increased frequencies to new communities by additional over 50 new cities, market pairs that we've added, about 170 code share opportunities, and for American Airlines, announced our intent to fly international routes that we never would have flown without this JetBlue alliance, without this Northeast Alliance, places like Tel Aviv and Delhi and Athens out of JFK that simply wouldn't be flown and won't be flown if indeed we don't have this alliance. So it's anyway disappointing. We feel really good about what we're doing for consumers, and we'll defend it. And I feel quite certain that we'll prevail.
And there seems to be some concern that while what you're describing is happening in the Boston and New York, the sort of Northeast corridor there, that somehow American and JetBlue would be able to perhaps corroborate across other parts of your networks. How can you assure regulators that you will continue to compete vigorously outside of that corridor?
Yeah, well, we've already done that, by the way. As part of the DOT allowing this to go forward back in January, we agreed that there would be no price collaboration, even on the NEA markets. And furthermore, we divested some slots in DC and in New York, and we agreed that we would divest more if we couldn't prove over time that the consumer benefits were there, and certainly that if we weren't vigorously competing elsewhere. Nothing in the arrangement would have us not be vigorous competitors elsewhere. We are vigorous competitors elsewhere. JetBlue is a great airline, but they're an independent airline, and this is not about merging or anything like it. As you'll hear from JetBlue, their view is this allows them to remain independent for the long term because it makes them a stronger airline, a stronger independent carrier. So anyway, we're happy to defend that piece as well. It's ill-founded.